Welcome to Before the Pitch, where you can love New York baseball no matter what shade of blue you're wearing. I am Billy.
And I am Scott, and today we are going to take a look back to 2020 and look at all of the rule changes, and we are going to decide if we think they are worth keeping or not. This is our new show called Take It or Leave It, and that is coming up to you right now on Before the Pitch. Thank you guys for joining us today. Here's how this is going to work. We are going to name to you one of the controversial rule changes in Major League Baseball that took place in the year 2020, and we will each have a chance to have 60 seconds to explain if we would keep it for 21, if we would not keep it for 21, and we're going to explain exactly why. Keep in mind, we're not necessarily saying if these should be kept or not, but more of if we personally would do it or not necessarily if MLB will do it or not, though I'm sure we will absolutely talk about that. So without further ado, here is the first rule change we are going to show you.
So the DH is inevitable. The MLB is definitely going to be putting it in, whether it's this year or next year. We know that it's coming. That's just a fact. Now, personally, I myself am not a big fan of the DH, but I would be lying if I said that it didn't benefit the Mets at least some way. For the MLB, though, the helps benefit players extending their careers. It also helps benefit players who aren't really good defensively. I'm not sure that myself is a good thing, but for the MLB, it certainly helps produce a much more consistent product on the field. But personally, I don't really want it, but it's coming either way.
So I'm actually going to miss pitchers hitting, which is weird because I'm a fan of an American League team. But there was kind of something special about looking forward to a National League series and just seeing the insanity that kind of happens. I'm with you. You and I both kind of enjoy the late game insanity that comes when a pitcher gets to hit and you start to have to make hard decisions about who's coming off your bench, who's your lead pitcher going to be, who's going to be your pinch hitter, and who's going to be your pinch runner. And then it gets really interesting. And that little extra layer I think is fun. I know you think that's fun too. Ultimately, what I like about not having the DH, I like the difference in the leagues because it adds to home field advantage. Baseball is unique in its home field advantage because ballparks are different, the dimensions are different. This is really the only sport that where the playing field differs depending on where you go. This also adds that extra layer of home field advantage that I thought makes baseball unique. I think you hit the nail on top of the head though when you said it's inevitable whether we like it or not. So we're kind of just accepting it.
So with 7 inning doubleheaders, I do understand that from a fan's perspective, there are a couple things that could work out in our favor. You know, we could have single admission doubleheaders where we get 14 innings of baseball for the price of one, and get to spend all day at the ballpark where we really just get to enjoy being in the atmosphere, being in the game, and being with people who also enjoy baseball for a longer amount of time. From the owner side of it, you kind of have like double concessions, maybe you charge more for parking. So like there is a financial benefit that could work out in the favor of owners. But generally, I just don't really think this is in a positive light for the game because people want every game to mean something, and double headers where you shorten the game kind of cheapen it a little bit. But if you're gonna do it and you only really do it when you're making up like a rain delay, I guess that's okay. But overall, I just really would rather not have it.
Oh, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate the idea that only 7 innings matter because here's what's going to happen. Eventually, relievers are going to be out of jobs and they're not going to be getting paid as much because the owner's argument is going to say, well, I don't need you. I got my starting pitching. Your value has gone down. I totally foresee that happening, and I do not see players being very happy about it. I also hate how this completely eliminates the late inning shenanigans that come with pitching changes. A pitcher could be doing absolutely fantastic for 7 innings. We start making pitching changes, things are going to start to get interesting. Are you going to leave the pitcher in? Is he going to wind down? Do you want to see how far you could ride it? Are you going to be safe and roll the dice on a new guy's feeling? More variables that get added to the end of the game are going to make things interesting, because that's when stuff could happen. That's when tables can turn. We are eliminating that possibility at all. Games will be decided super early. I think you and I even looked up from last year's 7 inning doubleheaders, the leader after like the third inning won like 80% of all the games. It's almost like we're not allowing the ability for comeback to happen. The games could be won so much earlier. And as much as I'd like to spend all day in the ballpark, 9 innings is a long time to be there anyway. I'm going to be spending all day in the ballpark, and I hate how this almost like kills the competitive integrity of what's almost half the game. I do not like this one bit.
So this is definitely, I think, my favorite rule that has come out in the last couple years. I love this rule, but I think we execute it way too soon in the course of a game. The runner on second is a really fun and exciting way to keep people engaged in extra innings, especially when those games can go, 13, 14, 15 innings, and you're just like, oh my god, no one's getting on bases. Pitchers are just like rolling through lineups. They're exhausted. It's like, this is an exciting way to keep you engaged into extra innings, keep you wanting to see what happens. I thought it was exciting and fun and kind of wild at times. My only issue with it, and this is the big change that I want to see happen, is that the runner doesn't go on second until the 12th inning. So you get 2 more innings of regular baseball, and then you make the change being like, all right, let's spice it up a little bit. Let's make things happen. That's when it gets interesting, and that's when I think it actually becomes an effective tool to keep people interested in the game.
So I was initially on board with this rule because I understand how big of a problem it is that games go like 15, 16 innings. At that point, it's a hazard to players and a hazard to their travel. It's a hazard to their sleep. It's a hazard to pitchers who have to keep going and pitching and then go have to do it the next day. So I completely understand why it's dangerous. I think you're barking at the right tree when you say it should come in later. I say the 13th inning. Let's let everyone go through a lineup at least guaranteed one more time. So even if everyone goes through, everyone strikes out the side every time, at least everyone's going to get one more at bat, and at that point start to hurry up. So I would just make it an inning later, though I wouldn't be mad if they did the 12th inning, like you said. I can't say I wasn't intrigued every time it happened. I wanted to see what was happening. The problem is I don't think it did what it said it was going to do. Games were still going 13, 14 extra innings. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. And I think the reason why is, and I'm going to steal this opinion from someone else, it highlighted how poor of a job hitters do at moving runners over now, because we've committed to the all or nothing swing so much, we have completely lost the art of just hitting base hits. And it's exposed now, because now when all you need is a base hit, you can't do it. Does this call for does this influence change in baseball? I hope so for that reason, but I think we're both in agreement. Wait till later before you did it. We don't want to see that start in the 10th inning.
So with the expanded playoffs, I really think that it is good for baseball overall. Now, if you click on our video up here, we'll be able to show you a little bit more of what we think it should be and how we think it would benefit baseball. But overall, I do think it's a good thing. I do think that more teams creates better competitiveness throughout the regular season, where you're going to have a lot more teams playing a lot more meaningful baseball games all the way through September, instead of teams being eliminated, halfway through July or even early August. I know that's an exaggeration, but still, it's pretty much true. A lot of teams know they're out of it early August, mid-August, and this would mean that some of those teams would be able to hold on into September, make a run. I do think it's good for baseball for those reasons. I also think that it's good to have more fans invested every year. I think it's good to see more players, how many people knew who Anthony Rendon was until he hit those home runs in the World Series? It's like, when those teams are in the playoffs every year, it creates more of a personality. It creates more of a consistent exposure to really good baseball players, and really good baseball players are really good for baseball.
More teams in the playoffs means more playoff money because there's more eyeballs in the national broadcast TV. There's more butts and seats. More people are going to care. Revenue goes up. Baseball needs all of those things. And this is a brilliant idea. That video that we posted, I will have to say. So Billy is actually the one who wrote that whole plan. I'm just the one who talked, but I have to give Billy the credit. He wrote that whole plan. It is a little bit different than what MLB has been doing, but we still think the basic premise of expanded playoffs is a good thing for all those reasons. Here's the argument that people oftentimes throw back at me, like, but when everyone guaranteed to get in the playoffs, and the play in the season will get kind of lazy when everybody knows they're in. Okay, would you rather your team get a little lazy because you know you're going to be playing in October when it matters, or would you rather your team get lazy when you have nothing to lose? If I'm not saying it might not get lazy, but what I am saying is the benefit to what you're going to get in October versus nothing. You and I went to freaking Camden Yards, what many people consider like one of the most beautiful ballparks in America, and it was empty. They were advertising kids sitting for free. We were sitting for $15, and you still couldn't get people to show up. So I guess is that even the price that's driving people away from baseball? Orioles fans have no reason to care. They have no reason to show up. And there's no way they're going to catch the Yankees anytime soon, or the Rays, or the Blue Jays, or when the Sox decide to wake up. They're hopeless for a long time, the more foreseeable long time. And it tends to be the people against expanded playoffs are fans of big market teams who have no idea how the other half lives at all. It's not even the other half. It's the other 90%, to be honest. It's going to sound weird being from like that big market team, but I call it like it is. A rising tide's going to raise all ships. If we get more eyeballs, more butts and seats, I don't care. Ideally, we want more playoff spots when we expand teams in all of baseball, so it's not easier to make the playoffs, but the game needs more national attention, and then maybe ESPN will start talking about it more. There's actually another mystery rule that I forgot to tell you about because I just remembered it. Bullpen carts. You got to do it. That sounds fun. That sounds fun. Everything about it sounds fun.
Yeah, as long as you hook mine up to a Ferrari, I'm in for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, does Nintendo still own the Mariners?
I don't know.
Do they still? Because then you can make your bullpen cart a Mario Kart just for advertising.
Hilarious.
Come on, there is such... Dude, if you're the Royals, I would make it like a throne. And then you sit on the throne. Come on, how much fun can you have with this? People who do not think this is a fun idea and do not think this is a good idea have no heart in their soul.
This is a kid's game. It's a game for kids.
Yeah.
I haven't got my hair cut since Chris's wedding.
Feel the flow, man. Feel it. Do you want to be quarantined?
At this point, yes. Because I've been back at work with the public since June. At this point, I want a vacation.